If we break a situation down to its finer and finer components, if we allow ourselves to be immersed in the immense number of details describing these components and the relationships between them, then we'll just end up with a bigger and bigger appreciation of the situation's complexity. This is also correct when we examine the relationship between any two closely related people. Just listen to them when they describe the history of their relationship: a mother and her teenage daughter, two friends, a person and his counterpart at work, not to mention a married couple. Very soon you'll get tired of listening to the vast details and to the inconsistencies between the stories. It is even more correct, more complex, when one person is the subject, since every person has relationships with many different people. Of course, when we examine an organization, an entity that is composed of many different people, the complexity is overwhelming. The claim is that in all these situations there is inherent simplicity. The simplicity will emerge when all those numerous components and all those immense details are all connected through simple cause and effect relationships, and when they all stem from just a very few elements. That was Newton's belief about nature. That is Father's belief about reality. He doesn't claim that reality is not overwhelmingly complex. He acknowledges it in full. But what he says is that there is a way to realize that from another more important aspect, it is exceedingly simple. Do I accept that? As long as it is just a philosophical speculation, I really don't care. But if Father does convince me that it helps to think like a true scientist, then it is a different story. I want to live a full life, and I am aware that clear thinking helps to achieve it. What I must clarify is whether or not the belief in inherent simplicity will help me to overcome the barriers that block me from thinking clearly. Last night, I identified 3 such barriers. But first, I have to fully understand the other part of this strange concept of inherent simplicity. I wait impatiently for them to finish playing that stupid computer game. Once my mother forces Amir to go eat, and Father squeezes a kiss from him, I get Father's full attention. Leaning back, he picks up right where we left off. So far, we have dealt with the first half of Newton's statement. The latter part of his statement, the one that states that nature is harmonious with itself, is not less important. Harmonious with itself? I repeat. How should I interpret such a phrase? One interpretation might be that there are no contradictions, he explains. What's so important about that? I ask. Isn't it obvious that nature doesn't contain contradictions? Okay, my smart daughter, let me rephrase Newton's sentence to be this. Reality does not contain conflicts. Would you accept it now? Remember, human beings are part of reality. He just gave me the key. Triumphantly, I say, that's the difference between the material world and the human-based world, between the hard sciences and the soft sciences. The material world does not contain contradictions, but people have conflicts, not just between each other. Every person is struggling with internal conflicts. There is another way to look at it, he says. That's too much. Father, I can assure you that there is no way you can convince me that people don't have conflicts. He resorts to his pipe. After a while, he starts again. Let me take a step back. Maybe we should discuss the differences and similarities between the words contradiction and conflict. Since I don't know where he is heading, I keep quiet. Let's examine an example of how deep everybody's conviction is that there are no contradictions in the material world. Suppose that we have 2 different techniques to measure the height of a building, and when we use them to measure the height of a specific building, we get 2 very different heights. Facing such an apparent contradiction, no one would say, let's compromise, let's agree that the height of this building is the average between the 2 measurements. What we would say is that somewhere along the line we have made an erroneous assumption. We'll check to see if, in the time that passed between the two measurements, additional floors were added.